News Central now at this hour begins in Nigeria, where the National Bureau of Statistics says vote buying increased by 5% in the 2023 general elections. Released on July 11th, the NBS report titled Corruption in Nigeria, Patterns and Trends third survey on corruption as experienced by population said the elections recorded 22% of vote buying, which is 5% higher than the 2019 general elections with 17%. The agency disclosed that 22% of Nigeria's citizens reported that they were personally offered money in exchange of a vote before or during the 2023 election, while 9% were offered another favor. It described vote buying as an act of offering money, goods, or other favors in exchange for a voter's vote in an election. Political stakeholders in the nation's capital, Abuja, have expressed diverse views over the removal of the chief whip of the nation's Senate. This followed the stripping of his position and privileges as chief whip by the leadership of the Senate for criticizing the current administration in the media. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
Is Ndume your friend?
A chieftain of the ruling All Progressive Congress defending the action taken against the chief whip of the Senate. The action was in reaction to the petition from the ruling All Progressive Congress against the chief whip, accusing him of unguarded utterances and outbursts against the federal government and particularly targeting President Bola Tinubu. However, some opposition political parties have expressed their displeasure against the action of the Senate.
We have a government or an executive that has pocketed National Assembly, legislature, that has weakened the spirit of the judiciary. You go to the judiciary and you see the judgment that comes out. Their judgment as if somebody is making political statements. After pocketing judiciary, after weakening the soul of the legislature, has gone to the state level. Because the only opposition you have that can even come together are the state governors. Now they want to weaken that spirit. It's a pity that what we call civilian autocracy is loading in Nigeria, all because of 2027. So it's a pity that the hammer has fallen in Ndume, but Nigerians should expect more.
It means that if they can do that to Ali Ndume, who is a solid member of the All Progressive Congress, it means no other person is safe. Nobody can speak out. And they are doing this. So I think Nigerians should begin to be on their guard in that our democracy is already endangered. Because the red chamber of the Senate is called the Hollow Chambers. It's respected Hollow Chamber. And you understand that if the red chamber is like the court. Things you say there, you can't even be taken to court based on those. So for APC and the Tinubu's government to take this punitive measure against one of their own for saying the obvious, because you don't see Tinubu speak to Nigerians. Nigerians are dying of hunger every day. In other places, the president will be speaking to the people. But today, either you see Ajuri Ngelale speak or Bayo Nonuga, who always attacks every other thing. So you see that our democracy is already endangered. So as an individual, as a member of a political party, I strongly condemn what happened because even our constitution guarantees freedom of speech. So if a high-ranking lawmaker like Senator Ali Ndume can be shut down, he wasn't just removed as the chief whip of the Senate, he was also removed as the vice chairman of Senate Committee on Appropriation. And possibly, he may be removed as chairman of Senate Committee on Army. So it's like telling everybody, shut up, you don't have to say anything.
The spokesperson of the Social Democratic Party called the action undemocratic. Their position, I quote, attempting to gag dissenting views by the leadership of the National Assembly, particularly the Senate, in whatever form is highly undemocratic and condemnable. It is sycophancy taken to the extreme for the APC to want to suppress the fundamental rights of expression of citizens. Opposition political parties, the civil society, and our true national interest must rise in unison to condemn and stop the evolving tyrannical reign in the National Assembly and by extension, the administration of Bola Tinubu. End of quote. However, one chieftain of the ruling party expressed different views.
It's not supposed to say all those things on the papers. If you can't see the president today, you look for another way to see him because he's the chief whip. And he's very close to Senate president. Because during the election, he was the coordinator of the Senate president. So I don't see any reason why he should come to the public to wash his dirty linens in the public.
I stand by.
The former chief whip remains in the ruling party, but not much is said about his next line of action. In Abuja for News Central, I'm Emmanuel Bagudu.
A cross-section of Nigerians have expressed diverse views on the recent approval of a new national minimum wage for Nigerian workers approved by President Bola Tinubu. While some of the citizens praised the president for ending the crisis surrounding the wage approval, others said the amount was too small given the current economic realities in the country. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu again reports.
For me, it's not going to make any difference in our economy.
It's a debate that doesn't seem will end anytime soon. For some of these economic experts, the nation's organized labor shouldn't have accepted the 70,000 naira minimum wage approval from the president, considering the current economic realities which the president has promised to address but has been unable to.
Why go through process of strike if you know that the ability will be only for 70,000? I mean, 70,000 as minimum wage for the people. And is it a livable wage? I mean, who can survive with a high inflation rate is about 35 to 45% increase everything. He can't buy anything from the market. He can't even afford a bag of rice. And Labour is celebrating that they have victory.
In today's economy, $46 or $45, 70,000 naira in a month for an average family of, in fact, let's even minimize it to an average family of 4.
They say their opinions are backed with facts and figures.
I don't think there's anything bad in them holding up and say, Mr. President, please, this is too much. This is too low for us, because how can you live on 70,000 naira as a livable wage? If you take 70,000, we'll be talking about $45. You calculate it on 45,000 in a nation that floated its currency, because after removing oil subsidy, and at the same time, we floated their currency. And, someone will say that for over 50 years, nations don't float their currency. They float to manage it. But you just allow your currency to go crazy, because currency is a mark of sovereignty. It's just not paper money anymore. It's a mark of sovereignty. And then you let it float, and it's not constant. It's not stable. And who can invest on stable currency, for instance? It's very difficult to attract foreign investors.
When the government says it does not have money, I beg to disagree. The money is stocked somewhere the government has refused to look into. Annually, this country loses an average of $15 billion to illicit financial flow, meaning to corruption, to tax evasion by companies. The financial system is weak. Now, even the current budget was estimated at pegged dollar at the cost of about 800 naira to the dollar, at an average of 1.5 barrels, 1.5 million barrels of crude oil daily. Today, in fact, even at official rates, dollar is selling for 1,450, even at the official rate. What this means is that we are having an excess of about 650 naira per barrel of crude that we sell every day. If you multiply this by the barrels of crude that we sell daily, The country is making an extra of at least 1 trillion naira daily.
Addressing a media conference at the nation's capital, Abuja, supporters of the ruling All Progressive Congress, however, expressed a different view.
Our population in Nigeria is about 250 million. The money is not there. 70, let them take it as the minimum wage, and as the time goes, there will be dialoguing to improve on it.
A chat with citizens on the streets of the nation's capital further reveals the opinions of Nigerians on the issue.
Before you know, the marketer will give us a different dimension, that there is because of lack of transport or all those things.
When we are now, even transfer from where I'm going to here, a month I can spend 70,000.
The new minimum wage, if upheld by the National Assembly, will replace the 30,000 naira minimum wage, which expired on April 18, 2024. In Abuja for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
Thank you, Emmanuel, for that report. Let's now tell you that the Inter-Party Advisory Council has opposed the Senate's proposed bill to establish the Local Government Independent Electoral Commission. Sponsored by Senator Sani Musa, the bill has been deemed by IPAC as unnecessary and likely to cause a duplication of functions and a waste of public funds. In a statement signed by National Publicity Secretary Chinyere Ogekalu, IPAC emphasized that the creation of another commission will not resolve the issues in conducting local government elections. It said it will result in redundant efforts and resource allocation. The proposed commission will still depend on INEC's voter register, IREV, beavers, ballot boxes, and other resources. IPAC suggests that the focus should be on enhancing INEC's capacity to conduct free, fair, and transparent elections at the local level, especially during a time when government resources are strained. To discuss this, we're joined by a legal practitioner and a former secretary to Akinyele local government in Ibadan, Oyo State, Dayo Ajibola. Hello, Dayo. Thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Good day, gentlemen, lady.
All right, now, can you elaborate on IPAC's specific concerns regarding the duplication of functions and potential waste of public funds, with the proposed local government independent electoral commission?
Yes, thank you so much. The truth about the situation that we have found ourselves is that what that body is talking about, yes, is a very, very vital, important issue they have brought before. But considering the problem we're having at the local government, I think those who are thinking about altering the constitution or making the constitutional provision for us to have independent body to conduct election at the local government, they have a reason for wanting to do so. But we must take into cognizance of certain issues, which is that, in some years before now, there was a judgment against INEC conducting election at the local government level. And sometimes what is desirable might not be what is practicable. We all are looking for a local government that is empowered, that can galvanize development within the Nigerian nation. But then we must be guided so as not to create another form of autocracy and bureaucratic bottleneck towards, anti-developmental issues at the local government.
All right, talking about bottlenecks, Dayo. Now, according to IPAC, the proposed commission will still rely on INEC's resources. Could you explain how this duplication might occur and also the specific inefficiencies it might create?
Well, I don't know the working of what the National Assembly as a body they are proposing. I don't know the organogram they are trying to set up. But what I do know is that everybody is concerned. Everybody wants development for the Nigerian nation. Hence, I believe that certain inadequacies will have been taken care of at that level. I believe that with the experiences that we are facing for now, everybody wants development at the local government level. So I don't see a problem in creating an independent body, provided certain constitutional errors are avoided. Because we should not forget the fact that there are certain case law that are against such venture, and we cannot just allow the local government. We are just jubilating over the financial autonomy to be rubbish by this particular issue. So we must take into cognizance of so many problems that are faced by the case law experiences of the past to make sure that we galvanize our local government into developmental paths. That's my own position. I cannot envisage any alarming problem for now, because everybody is trying to solve problem for the Nigerian nation. And we must think out with the situation. We must try to look for solutions. We must think out of the box. So we cannot just assume that we are going to solve a problem by going to the same route, through the same route all over, through the same way all over. Okay. I don't think so. All right. I think we must think out the process to galvanize development at the local government. That's my own position, honest position.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dayo, for speaking to us on this. We appreciate you for your time. And with that, we'll take a quick break. And when we come back, the news continues. Stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. The Nigerian government is taking aim at lenders by introducing windfall tax on banks' foreign currency revaluation gains, hoping to use the proceeds to part finance its spending plans. President Bola Tinubu wrote to the Senate asking if to back a legislation that will tax the bumper income derived by banks last year from the revaluation of their FC-denominated assets after a free fall in the value of the naira caused a surge in the value of such assets when converted into the local currency. According to the president, the tax will help fund capital infrastructure development, education and healthcare access, as well as public welfare initiatives, all of which are essential components of the Renewed Hope agenda. Joining us to discuss this is a business and social policy analyst, Kenneth Ikenwa. Hello, Kenneth. It's a pleasure to have you on the news with us.
Hello, Dashen. Good afternoon. Nice seeing you again.
Nice seeing you too. All right, so Kenneth, what do you make of this proposed windfall tax, being imposed on banks?
All right, this like I would always say, are quite interesting times. I want to be completely unbiased in my analysis of the subject matter. It is quite dialectical, which means that it has two sides to it. First is the fact that there is an overemphasis on the part of this present government to generate revenue through taxation. And I hope that this will not bring about a national vexation across the different sectors in the economy. It's a new development which is obtainable in Western countries. And these are countries that have higher development index and higher capital per income in these countries. And for us to be borrowing, copying and pasting such taxation and bringing it and imposing it to Nigeria, it actually begs the question. Now, the other side to this issue is very important that we consider, which is the fact that Nigerian banks seem to be the ones that are not feeling the brunt of the economy. And so these banks are declaring humongous profits and generating revenues. And you beg to ask, or you want to ask, that if the banks are not contributing to businesses growing, if the lending rates are so high and people cannot afford to get loans from banks, where are these unimaginable abnormal profits, like we call them in economics, coming from? So when you want to balance that, I think you may want to make a case for these profits to be taxed. And these profits are just profits that are declared on paper. And I hope the CEOs won't come for me, but I'm ready. Because after a lot of financial engineering and creative accounting, we still have banks declaring these profits. So we need to ask the question, what value are they really adding to small businesses? What value are they really adding to individuals? And where are these profits coming from? So the government is right and spot on to say, okay, if you guys are making so much profit, let us declare some form of taxation on this windfall. But again, the legitimacy behind that and the multiplier effect on the economy still queries whether this is a good, if it is right, and if the resources and what is on ground in the country right now should be appropriated in this direction, and of all, if this should be the priority of the government.
Okay. Now, the tax is expected to help fund capital infrastructural development like education and healthcare access, as well as public welfare initiatives. Is this the right step at this time?
I have always queried the economic model that lays too much emphasis on taxation and that puts too much burden of these taxes on the Nigerian people, or on the people of any country. And so we must get our economics right. It's either we are going Keynesian or we are going Freudian in our economic paradigm, and we must have a proper paradigm that focuses on a macroeconomic populism, that is macroeconomics that will be to the benefit of the people and that will raise the social efficiency of what policies are being made. Now, let me come back directly to the first question. It is a question of priority. Now, before I talk about priority, well, saying that, for instance, these taxes will benefit tax law that makes it compulsory for firms to contribute about 2 or 3% of their income, of their profit, towards an education tax fund. What happens to that tax? Is this one going to overrule that, or is it going to abrogate that? These are issues. But secondly, we are having too much debate and too much escalation and commitment of resources towards infrastructure. I beg to ask, and I beg to disagree, that this overemphasis on infrastructure development may not be what we need right now as a country. Now, if there is infrastructure on ground and there is no security for the Nigerian people to enjoy those infrastructure, then what are you investing in that infrastructure for? I would have expected that all hands would be on deck and resources that are scarce will be appropriated, aggregated, and committed for the purpose of restoring sanity, for the purpose of restoring serenity, and for the purpose of ensuring that people can live in Nigeria in the most secure of environments. So I do not vote for security. I do not vote for infrastructural development at this point in time. It is not right. I think what the government should be focusing on now is how do we restore security and how do we or the creative destruction of the people bound and not allowing us to survive and thrive in what used to be a very, very peaceful environment.
All right, Kenneth, sadly, we have to, end the conversation here, but thank you so much for speaking to us. Staying with the financial sector, the Central Bank of Nigeria, which has ordered all banks and financial institutions to transfer funds from dormant accounts to the Apex Bank, applies to accounts that have been inactive for 10 years or more. The move aims to reunite dormant funds with their rightful owners, standardize the management of such accounts, and establish a procedure for reclaiming warehoused funds. Eligible accounts include current, savings, and term deposits, domiciliary accounts, and prepaid card accounts. Government-owned accounts, unclaimed salaries, and funds from uncleared financial instruments are also included. However, accounts under investigation, litigation, or encumbered by collateral or liens are exempt. Earlier, Mukhtar Mohammed, financial market analyst, spoke to us on this development. We'll bring that conversation to you in our subsequent bulletin. But right now, Nigeria's House of Representatives has restated its commitment to ensuring that the nation's economy is repositioned on the path of sustainable growth and development through economic diversification. The chairman of the House Committee on Monitoring, Evaluation and Implementation of the House of Representatives Legislative Agenda made this known in the nation's capital, Abuja, saying that the parliament has made several interventions aimed at addressing Nigeria's dwindling economic fortunes. He says that lawmakers will continue to engage relevant stakeholders to ensure that citizens benefit from the nation's wealth and Nigeria becomes an economic hub on the continent.
With an enormous endowment of green, blue, and digital resources, Nigeria is potentially positioned to serve as the green, blue, and digital hubs of Africa. As you are aware, the National Assembly has, in pursuant to its constitutional mandate, made a number of interventions, both at plenary and committee levels, towards the resolution of our national economic challenges. While these interventions are indeed yielding positive results, the need for a strategic stakeholders' engagement, collaborations, and contributions in this regard cannot be overemphasized.
Global IT outage has caused chaos at airports worldwide, including Nigeria's Murtala Mohammed International Airport. Flights to the US, Europe, and other international destinations were delayed and cancelled. The glitch, traced to a faulty software update, affected Windows computers worldwide, disrupting businesses, banks, and healthcare services. At least 2,691 flights were cancelled globally, with airlines like United, Delta, Air France, and KLM affected. Passengers are stranded and flights were rescheduled, and the International Air Transport Association has urged travelers to check with their airlines for update. Government and industry leaders are working to mitigate the impact. Microsoft identified the cause as a configuration change in Azure back-end workloads, affecting Microsoft 365 services. Let's head to Edo State now, where the reinstatement of Philip Shaibu as the Deputy Governor of the state by the Federal High Court in Abuja has continued to elicit reactions from political observers. The court held that his impeachment by the Edo State House of Assembly was illegal and hence declared it null and void. In this special report, our correspondent Marvelous Obomanu gave a blow-by-blow account of events that culminated to the impeachment of Philip Shaibu and his reinstatement.
The Edo State House of Assembly on Monday, April 8, 2024, impeached Philip Shaibu following the adoption of the report of the 7-man investigative panel set up by the state chief judge to probe allegations of perjury and leaking of government secrets against the reinstated deputy governor. But if the allegations were discovered to be true, questions have been asked whether the State House of Assembly is empowered to try a case of perjury, or if that responsibility belongs to the courts.
It is only the court of law that can determine the offense of perjury. Only the court of law. The assembly or the legislature cannot determine whether an individual accused of perjury has actually committed perjury, because it's a criminal offense. So Philip Shaibu enjoys immunity under Section 308. So if they have accused him of committing perjury, first, he couldn't have been prosecuted because he enjoyed immunity, and the House itself is not legally bound or legally empowered to prosecute criminal activities or criminal offenses against individuals. So on that count, it was bound to fail that couldn't have been enough solid legal and constitutional ground to impeach Philip Shaibu.
In the wake of Shaibu's impeachment, Governor Godwin Obaseki picked Omobayo Godwin as his deputy to complete Shaibu's second tenure in office, which will end on November 11, 2024. Many believe that the relationship between Shaibu and Obaseki actually broke down when Shaibu declared his intention to run for governorship election in the state as successor to his principal, a move which the governor did not take too lightly.
The problem started when Philip Shaibu was ambitious to become the next governor to succeed Governor Godwin Obaseki. That was the beginning of their political coil. So every other point you see is immaterial.
The impeachment of Philip Shaibu, Deputy Governor of Edo State, was one of such acts of gross violation of the Constitution, because that impeachment has all the trappings of political intolerance, political intimidation, an act that was calculated to subject the young man to the whims and caprices of the emperors that have taken the state by its jugular.
There are some who think that Obaseki's refusal to support Shaibu was because the governor had groomed a successor, a claim he has told many will balance the power rotation in the state.
If he is allowed to contest, it will bring some kind of division to the state, because some part of the senatorial district are already feeling that they are not part of the governance of Edo State because they have not had fair sharing in the leadership of in leadership direction of the state. I'm talking about the #1 seat of the state. So that was what the governor tinkered, and he said that he won't allow that injustice to continue. That what he wants to do now is that he wants to empower the other senatorial district within Edo State to also have the opportunity of being the #1 citizen of the state and give direction in the next 4 years. That is what is happening.
Others think that what played out between Obaseki and Shaibu was a political witch hunt.
Philip Shaibu was a victim and has remained a victim of the political victimization of his boss, of the political manipulation of his boss, and of course of the political calculations to impose his surrogate on the people of Edo State as governor in the next election.
In all the political drama playing out in the state, the governorship election is just a few months away. Many will seek answers to questions now bordering on Shaibu's return. Has his name been cleared from all accusations? Will his reinstatement cause an upset in Edo politics? And also, will Edo residents be the winners in all of these?
What's happened to him is that he's trying to bail himself out of that disgrace. It is not about the salary. It is not about the 4 months. He might not even go to that office once, for the remaining 4 months. But the issue now is that he needs to get back his dignity.
The greatest joy and justice will come to him and the Edo people by the time those who hold the political suzerainty of government house and government instruments, the apparatchik of government that they are using in Edo State to subjugate the commoners and political opponents. When they fail in September election, then the greatest happiness for the greatest number of Edo people, including Philip Shaibu, would have been achieved, and justice, of course, would have been achieved for Edo people.
Although the Edo State government says it will appeal the judgment of the Federal High Court, residents in the state will be more concerned about who will be their next governor in the coming months. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Obonman.
Stakeholders have lauded efforts aimed at amending Nigeria's Maritime Administration and Safety Agency Act of 2007 and called for stakeholders' input in the amendment process to help enhance security within Nigeria's maritime corridor. Some of those who gave their recommendations during a public hearing on the amendment exercise say that it is necessary to help the nation tackle maritime security. Idong Joseph has the report.
In a bid to strengthen maritime security, the bill, which seeks to repeal and amend the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Act of 2007, is now set for public hearing.
The objectives of this bill.
This followed deliberations on March 4, 2024, where lawmakers discussed the general principles of the bill. They say there is a need to enhance maritime security through effective legislation.
Accordingly, this public hearing is tailored towards enacting an enduring legislation that will stand the test of time and in line with the best and global practices, which recognizes the importance of the blue economy to regional and global economic growth and development.
Supporting the review of the Maritime Administration and Safety Agency Act, some stakeholders raised concerns on some areas they feel need amendments.
There are some issues the Nigerian Navy has noted in the proposed bill, which could cause conflict in the discharge of Nigerian Navy responsibility as well as the functions of other agencies. I'll just point out what we have submitted either to the committee, specifically section 4M. 4M. The fine, according to the law, is that the fine can only take place after a court judgment. Whereas when you go into the international regulations and law, you can fine a perpetrator, and if the perpetrator is not comfortable with it, he can then go to court. But in Nigerian situation, in maritime situation right now, you cannot fine the perpetrator unless you take the perpetrator to court.
While the proposed legislation aims to bolster Nigeria's maritime security and ensure safer and more efficient maritime operations, stakeholders say they hope the bill will be in line with global standards. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
And now to health matters. The Plateau State government has confirmed that there is no cholera outbreak in the state. This assurance was given by the state epidemiologist, Dr. Marin Job, in an exclusive interview with News Central's Chizoba Anyongwe in Jos, the state capital. She emphasized that vaccination of children under the age of 5 is highly effective in preventing and controlling the spread of cholera. Her report.
Cholera, a highly dangerous bacterial disease, has been reported in 31 states of the Federation. However, Plateau State has not recorded any cases of this disease since 2021. Rapid diagnostic tests conducted throughout the state confirmed that Plateau remains free of cholera.
There is no cholera recorded in Plateau State. Yes, we had 2 suspected cases, but we have what we call the rapid diagnostic test kits that we use. So we screened those 2 people and they were negative for cholera. So usually you do the rapid test first. If it's positive, then you take sample, for confirmation. So the RDT is negative, so we don't have any recorded case.
Open defecation and a lack of potable water are major contributors to cholera. Dr. Maren emphasizes that if people consistently practice frequent hand washing and thoroughly clean fruits and vegetables before consumption, there could be a significant reduction in the spread of cholera.
What predisposes people to cholera outbreak is lack of potable drinking water, open defecation. At the beginning of the rainfall, once open defecation is being practiced, the water will wash all the feces into the open or surface water. And some people use that surface water for drinking and for also cooking.
With 1,528 suspected cases, including 65 confirmed and 53 deaths across 31 states in Nigeria, it has become crucial to embrace the age-old wisdom that prevention is better than cure.
We should avoid open defecation. What that means is that everybody should have at least toilet facilities around so that we avoid open defecation. Number 2, if we don't have potable drinking water, we should always boil our water for at least 10 minutes. The next thing you can do is let's also embark the habit of hand washing.
Passage of watery stool, vomiting, nausea, and dehydration are major symptoms of the illness. However, seeking prompt medical attention at a nearby health facility can be life-saving. Despite the effectiveness and efficiency of vaccines and immunizations, it is crucial for public officials to ensure that these resources are readily available to citizens. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Anyongwe.
The news continues in North Africa, where Tunisia's President Kais Saied, who grabbed wide-ranging powers 2 years after his 2019 election, has announced that he will be seeking a new 5-year term in an election set for October. Speaking in the southern region of Tatooine, the 66-year-old said he was answering the country's sacred call, which left him no choice but to run for a second term. Several would-be challengers to the president who had announced their candidacy are either in prison or being prosecuted. In his announcement Friday, Said called on everyone preparing to sponsor candidates to stare off any corruption.
أعلن رسميا ترشحي للانتخابات الرئاسية ليوم 6 من أكتوبر القادم.
In business, the transmission company of Nigeria has issued a suspension order to the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company over its non-compliance with the conditions of the market rules and market participation agreement. AEDC supplies electricity to the Federal Capital Territory, Kogi, Nasarawa and Niger states, while TCN is the federal government company that transmits the electricity produced by power generation companies to power distribution companies across the country. In the suspension order with the number TCN ISO MO 2024-002, the transmission firm said the Abuja Distribution Company failed to provide adequate bank guarantee to TCN, a development that contravened the power market rules. Now, in the world of sports, COAS shooters have been crowned champions of the 2024 National Division in Handball League in the men's category. CAOS shooters defeated Osun United 21-16 goals in the final of the men's category played at the indoor sports hall of Samuel Igbemudia Stadium in Benin City on Friday. The team coordinator, Brigadier General A.R. Bello, strengthened the team and effectively monitored their training. The team was relegated about 3 years ago. An elated Brigadier General Bello revealed that it took the special intervention of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja, through timely logistics for the team to get the desired results. Bello stated that anything short of the trophy would have not been accepted due to the commitment of the Nigerian Army in supporting the team. The Korean Football Association has written to FIFA to express serious concerns after Wolves' Hwang Hee-chan was the target of an alleged racist remark by a Como player in a pre-season friendly. South Korea forward Hwang reported the remark during Monday's friendly in Marbella, Spain. Como said one of their players made a reference surrounding Hwang's name. The Italian club said they did not consider the remark racist, adding that the reaction of certain Wolves players has seen the incident blown out of proportion. Wolves and Hwang insist it was racist and are working with the English Football Association to formalize their complaint, which will be sent to UEFA and the Italian FA. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our top stories. We told you that Nigerians groan as foreign airlines cancel delayed flights. National Bureau of Statistics says vote buying increased by 5% in 2023 poll. You also heard that Tunisian president announces plan to run for another term. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Dashen, Usman.